So he goes out there and he throws 71%, makes the one interception, keeps them in the game, does not do anything to lose them the game, and actually performs while he's not being supported by what should be top-tier wide receivers. And you're telling me that you were disappointed in that. Throw 71%, is that what you said?
75.
75. So he threw and completed 75% of his passes.
Yes. Yep.
If anybody finishes a season like that, that'd be great. Yeah, the defense is lacking in Kansas City, but for where Cleveland's been, they could never even remotely touch an AFC champion. Now they're playing with them, and if it wasn't for the last-second mistake, when he didn't really get support when he needed it earlier, I don't really fault him for that. I think he had a good performance against a good team.
All right, that's...
And I also think that Kansas City is going to have to do this a lot this year.
That is fair.
Throwing it in on the game.
Now, here is a question that I have, not about Baker Mayfield's performance necessarily. It is about Baker Mayfield and part of his performance, though. I'm looking at the stats, and I'm just fucking confused. How does Baker Mayfield have 0 receptions but 11 receiving yards? What? Like, how does that happen? Did a wide receiver fumble and he picked it up and ran it 11 yards?
I guess.
I thought that's career. That's that game.
That's the game. 0 receptions, 11 yards.
That's got to be a mistake, though.
It's got to.
Somebody's got to screw it up somewhere.
It's got to. It's on the ESPN app. I'm just looking through the stats and I'm like, this makes no sense. He has 0 targets, 0 catches, 11 receiving yards.
It's got to be like that's got to be supposed to be in rush, but they screwed it up.
Yeah,
doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't. Anyways, but yeah, I have high hopes for the Browns. I think that they're going to turn it around. I think Baker Mayfield is capable of being an NFL MVP caliber player, and I just want to see him throw for more touchdowns. I know that's also on the wide receivers, but good quarterbacks make wide receivers good. Anyways, we're going to take our break, and when we get back, we're going to talk Dolphins, Patriots, Saints, Packers, Giants, Broncos, Bears, Rams, and Ravens, Raiders. You're listening to Dan D'Antoni Sports. We'll be back in just about 1 minute. And welcome back to the third part of Dan D'Antoni Sports episode tonight. We left off last segment with the Chiefs and the Browns. We're moving on to the Dolphins, Patriots. But just before we get to that, I want to express my disappointment with another organization, and that is NFL.com's fantasy app, because I could not make any adjustments to my lineup until mid-Monday.
Yeah, I haven't been able to sign in. That's been extremely frustrating. They say that they're aware of the issue and working on a fix, in like several days, and that's not really acceptable when you're trying to play fantasy football.
Especially, yeah.
Years.
We've been using this for years, Dan Beebe and I have, and we've never had this issue.
No, not till now.
Not once.
Yeah. I've been switching all my leagues over to Sleeper because, they may have their issues, but they tend to fix them quickly. So, my 2 cents on the issue, but yeah, definitely disappointing.
Anyways, moving on to something else that's disappointing. The Dolphins and the Patriots. Good game, very close. Mac Jones, most efficient rookie quarterback of the week. With, there's the caveat of having to throw more than one pass. So Trey Lance, you're out. 29 of 39. I think I saw first rookie quarterback to complete 75% of his passes or something like that in his debut. So good for him. Now the rundown. Mac Jones, 281 yards, 1 touchdown. Tua, 202 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Damian Harris, 23 carries for 100 yards. Myles Gaskin, 9 carries for 49 yards. Nelson Aguilar, 5 receptions for 72 yards and a touchdown. Devontae Parker, 4 receptions, 81 yards. And the Dolphins came away with a 17-16 victory. Another team I'm disappointed in is the Patriots because I selected them in my DraftKings elimination fantasy league and survivor pool, and I'm literally out week 1.
Yeah, it happens. You took a gamble, but every game in week 1 was a gamble.
Yeah. Ridiculous. Anyways, I don't think there's anything in this game that I feel either great or horrible about for either team. Tua, 16-27. I wish Myles Gaskin would, have been given the ball more. Doesn't look like they ran a lot of plays. 27 passes, 23 rushes. That's only 50 plays. Trevor Lawrence threw 51 times. So he threw for more plays than the Dolphins ran. Again, nothing that I think is too great or too terrible on either side. Pretty uneventful 1-point game, if you ask me.
Division matchups too, so
yeah. If Dan O'Shea had his way, it would have ended in a 0-0 tie.
Not quite true. If I had my way, they would both somehow lose.
Yeah, no, that's not possible, man.
Oh,
yeah,
man.
Unfortunately. Yeah, I didn't really get to watch this game, unfortunately, but I did watch some of the highlights and not so highlights. Miami defense looks really solid. Mac Jones looked all right. Tua looked okay. Had some struggles, but ultimately got it done. They both look like middling teams from this week, but again, it's a week, so there's only so many takeaways we can have from week 1.
Speaking of takeaways, sorry. The game ended on a takeaway. Xavier Howard forcing a fumble on the goal line to keep the Patriots from winning the game.
Oh yeah, Billy B's not going to be happy with that. Was that? I know Harris and Ramondre Steven both fumbled. Was that Harris or was that Stevenson?
It was Harris, I believe.
Yeah. I don't know how much playing time he'll get. We'll see.
Yeah. But honestly, there's not much more I have to say about this game. Again, pretty uneventful, 17-16, solid football game. Nothing crazy to think, nothing that really excited me, nothing that horrified me. If I'm a fan of either team, I feel pretty decent about where they're standing right now, especially the Patriots, going with a rookie quarterback. I feel all right, It's only week 1, and I don't already hate my team, so both teams solid. The next game, not so much. All right. The Packers and the Saints. God, did Aaron Rodgers look terrible. He looked so bad. I don't know how true this is because I don't do the math because I'm not one of them nerds. But if you take a game full of throws and you throw the ball away every play and you don't complete a single pass, you'd get a quarterback rating of like 39. Aaron Rodgers got a quarterback rating of like 32. So,
yeah, that's what happens when you pass it to the other team 4 fucking times.
Yep. He looked like Jameis out there. Aaron Rodgers, 133 yards, 2 interceptions. Jameis Winston.
What you can say in fairness is that they were wearing white jerseys, and the Packers do have white jerseys.
That's a good point.
With dark numbers, I mean, I'm trying to make an excuse for why you would not recognize what players on your team.
I'll tell you exactly what's happening. Conspiracy theory time. Get your fucking tinfoil hats on. The Packers were not willing to trade me, so I'm going to make them wish they did. I think Aaron Rodgers
we'll see
throwing
how
the
that plays
game.
out. Mind you that this is still the reigning MVP.
I love it.
But it doesn't make a lot of sense.
Jameis Winston with the most pedestrian 5-touchdown game in the history of the NFL. 143 passing yards, 5 touchdowns. Like, I asked how Justin Herbert has 330 passing yards and only 1 touchdown. How do you have 148 passing yards and 5 touchdowns? Like, it just...
This was the really weird game that didn't make any sense.
I don't get it. And then it's not like Kamara went crazy. He had 20 carries for 83 yards. Very solid game. I like, Alvin Kamara. One of my, let's see, Chubb, Zeke, Saquon, Kamara, Cook. Probably my 5 favorite running backs in the NFL right now. So I love Alvin Kamara. 83 yards, it's solid. You get 83 yards every game, you're going to be well over 1,000, you're going to be well over 1,200 rushing yards for the season. That's just some quick bad math, but I like it. A.J. Dillon, a monster, 4 carries, 19 yards game. Just absolute monster. Averaging almost 5 yards per carry, though. So,
yeah. That's rookie running backs not being used. Yep.
Devontae Adams had a third of Aaron Rodgers' completions for about a third of his yards. 5 receptions, 56 yards. Meanwhile, over in New Orleans, Deontay Harris, who is from Assumption College, 2 receptions, 72 yards, 1 touchdown. So he on 2 receptions, he had half of Jameis's yards and 2/5 of his touchdowns. Or no, a 5th of his touchdown. That's crazy. I think the biggest disappointment for most people is going to be the Green Bay Packers. Because how do you go from potentially... They were in the NFC Championship game, right? Yeah, the Buccaneers beat them. How are you going from the NFC Championship game with a reigning MVP, a top 3 wide receiver, a running back that just got a huge contract, who believes that he's the best running back in the NFL, and you put up 3 points on the Saints? And I think my favorite thing about this entire game had nothing to do with the play, and it was Drew Brees after the game saying maybe a passing quarterback is what they were missing. Throwing huge digs at himself. Fucking hilarious. Drew Brees, you're a legend, one of a kind, we love you. Saying if only the Saints had a quarterback, maybe they'd win. Like, from one of the greatest of all time. Get the fuck out of here, Drew Brees. Stop. Aaron Rodgers just looked, like I said, terrible. He looked terrible. Jameis Winston looked confusing.
Amazing.
Good. I don't even want to say amazing because only 100. Like, how many quarterbacks